Welcome to another TikTok homeschool conference. This week, everybody's been talking about homeschooling children with special needs, whether it's autism or dyslexia. Today, I get to talk about homeschooling a child who has type 1 diabetes. If you're new here, my name is Darlene. I'm a homeschool mom to 3 boys, and I'm wrapping up our 6th year of homeschooling. My oldest has type 1 diabetes. It's not something that I talk about often on my page because it's just not who he is. He is a child who has type 1 diabetes, but he's so much more than that. He was diagnosed about 6 years ago, which if you do the math is right when we started homeschooling. And it definitely was a factor in our decision to homeschool because it was also the same year of COVID. So not a good time, but here we are 6 years later, absolutely loving it. It does make me wonder what his school life would look like if he was in a brick and mortar school. What would it look like for a different teacher every year to try and give them education on what diabetes is, to give them education on insulin and high sugars and low sugars, and when he needs a snack and why he needs to have a device on him at all times. Like, I imagine that is very challenging. I think the biggest thing with homeschooling my type 1 diabetic son is there are many times when he's in the middle of his schoolwork, in the middle of a math lesson, and his sugars are just high and he cannot concentrate. He cannot concentrate. He's very smart and he's very on top of his work. So when his blood sugars are high or low, it is very obvious. There are definitely times when we have to stop what we're doing to either treat low blood sugar, which is stopping to give him a snack, which usually means that everybody else wants a snack, or stopping to do some insulin and going for a walk or telling him to go play outside for a little bit just to bring his blood sugars back down. And I don't quite understand how that would work in a school. Obviously, like, there's a nurse, but then he would be missing his class. Like, it's not at home. We pause what we're doing and then we resume and continue after his blood sugars are in normal range. But in his classroom, what do you do? So that, I think, is probably the biggest benefit of homeschooling, is he doesn't miss anything because we are here and we can stop and go as we please. Homeschooling my type 1 diabetic also means that I really get to help build his independence and taking care of his diabetes. So at home, if it's time for a snack, I tell him, check the carbs, how much insulin do you need to do, and he's got to do the math in his head. And I think it's really preparing him for the future. Children with chronic conditions can sometimes carry with them anxiety, frustration about feeling different. They can even experience bullying, burnout. That's a big one. But homeschooling, I feel, definitely reduces some of that pressure. At home, his diabetes is not a weird thing. It's just normal. This is just our life. Our homeschool friends, they all know that he has diabetes. He's educated them all on it, and it's not weird to them. In school, if you're just a little bit different, like, kids are mean and there can be a lot of bullying. I have a friend whose son is also type 1 diabetic, and the kids in his classroom are like picking at his gadgets. I'm just so grateful that that's not something that we have to deal with, and that our friends respect and try to understand his diabetes. It's not like this big weird thing for him. So yeah, homeschooling a type 1 diabetic is very similar to homeschooling any other kid, except that we take breaks for low sugars and we take breaks for high sugars. Sometimes we need a snack and sometimes we need some insulin and some physical movement. But other than that, it just means that my son is well taken care of. He has built his confidence. He's very knowledgeable in his diabetes. He listens to his body. He understands how to do the math for his insulin. And we have an amazing community that just takes him in like any other kid. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below in the comments and I will try and get back to everybody. If you also have a type 1 diabetic, lots of love to you, because I know that it is not an easy path. It's not an easy journey to be the pancreas for a growing child, but we've got this. And yeah, I'm here to answer any of your homeschool questions. Bye.